Hey guys, welcome back to my Crafter's Companion YouTube channel. I hope you are well. I hope you're well and you're ready for another tutorial here. Let me just get everything up and running, ready to go. I think we've got the music and everything off now in that backdrop, so we can now, well, you can hear my dulcet tones. Apologies for that one there. So we're back here again when it comes to the Crafter's Companion YouTube channel, where we're going to have a little play at something brand new. Now, when I say brand new, this has already launched on Crafters TV when it comes to the full collection with the Fisher and, of course, Ben, and you guys absolutely loved it, which we knew that you all would. But what I have got is I've got the Hobby Maker launch. So that's going to be coming up this weekend. So that's going to be on Sunday the 31st. Sunday the 31st at 2 p.m. I'm going to be on Hobby Maker with the brand new launch. And that brand new launch is, of course, Enchanted Ocean. It is the Enchanted Ocean collection, which you guys have absolutely taken to your heart. You've been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for this collection to launch, and it's actually launched already. As I say, incredibly busy on Crafters TV, but now we've got the Hobby Maker launch this weekend. So this coming weekend, I'm going to be on the Saturday and the Sunday. Now, on the Saturday, I'm going to be on with the Hobby Maker launch of the mirror pads. That's at 3 o'clock, and then at 6 o'clock, we're going to have another look at the Arabian Nights, which Debbie Robinson, I'm sure it was Debbie Robinson that launched the Arabian Nights just a couple of days ago, as of when I'm filming this tutorial here. When I say a couple of days ago, I am filming this on a few days before the weekend, so therefore Saturday, Sunday, the 30th and the 31st, I'm going to be on Hobby Maker. On the Sunday, I've got three different shows. We're going to kickstart at 2 o'clock on Sunday the 31st with the Enchanted Dreams collection. Now, I say Enchanted Dreams, Enchanted Ocean. You may hear me say Enchanted Dreams. For some reason, I've got Enchanted Dreams within my head. It's Enchanted Ocean. If you hear me say Enchanted Dreams, it's a little slip up, and it is, of course, Enchanted Ocean that I'm referring to. That's at 2 o'clock. The other two shows I've got later on the day on Sunday the 31st is going to be the Bloom ink pads, Colour Bloom ink pads, which we're going to use within this demonstration here with Enchanted Ocean. And then the last show on the Sunday trip that I've got, we're going to be having a look at the seasonal creator cards. So that's going to be this weekend, Sunday the 30th and the 31st on Hobby Maker with myself. Now, as I say, we're going to bring it right back to the brand new launch of Enchanted Ocean. So if you've seen this within Crafter's Companion and you've already got it, or you're expecting your delivery, then here's another tutorial that you've got off the back of what Debbie Fisher showed you the other day on Crafters TV. If you've not seen it yet, if you're an avid Hobby Maker follower and fan and watcher, and you've not seen this collection from Crafter's Companion, then I'm going to be showing you at 2 o'clock on Sunday the 31st. So really, really looking forward to that. So before we dive in, of course, thank you to everyone that already subscribes to my Crafter's Companion YouTube channel. Now, when it comes to my Crafter's Companion YouTube channel, what I tend to do is do what I absolutely love, and you guys love it as well, and that's use old and new. Now, when I say old, I don't necessarily mean old was in the last couple of months. It can quite literally be old as in the last 4 years, 6 years, 7 years, depending on what I've got past, of course, the last 5 years that I've been with Crafter's Companion. So I always try and mix old and new. Sometimes I'll just focus on old. Sometimes, like today, we'll focus on new. Most of the time, though, it's old and new, because that's what I love to do, and that's what you love to see as well. When it comes to these tutorial videos that I do, the reason I like to do old and new is because I do these in my own time. I do these completely in my own time, which then means that I get free reign on what I want to do. Now, I always like to focus on Crafter's Companion, because that is the heart and soul of myself. Cut me open, cut Debbie open, cut Debbie Robinson open, and we bleed purple in Crafter's Companion. So that's why we keep it Crafter's Companion, because it's my love and joy, but I do like to then bring in some older products. You will see me, of course, using Sticks 2, which is a local company through in Newcastle. You guys know the story of myself and Sticks 2, of course. So that will never, ever change. I always like to just add them and link them into the description within the tutorials that I like to do. But other than Sticks 2, it is all Crafter's Companion, old and new. Now, if you've already given me the thumbs up when it comes to each tutorial video, thank you so much as well. And then if you do want to, of course, hit that bell notification, you don't have to. That's not important unless you like to be notified as soon as one of these tutorials go up. As soon as these go up and these are uploaded, you'll get a notification saying Craig Laird, Crafter's Companion, has got a new tutorial up ready for you to follow. Of course, do the same with Debbie Robinson and Ben Mosby. They've got their Crafter's Companion YouTube channel. Hit that bell notification. And when they pop one up, you'll also get a notification. Right, that being said, all the important bits are said and out the way. Is it actually the important bits, or is what I'm away to do now the important bit? I think what I'm away to do now is the important bit, and that is diving in to get creative when it comes to the collection. So, what we're going to be doing within this one, now I'm going to be using some white and black card, watercolour card, and I've got a 7x7 card blank, but I'm going to chop it down to 5x7 as a top fold. You know that I do love a top fold. That's what we're going to be using. I am from the Colour Bloom. What we're going to be using is the Dusk Orchid. Let me zoom in just a little bit more for you to see. Dusk Orchid, and then we're going to be using the Shoal as well. So that is the two Colour Blooms that we're going to be using. You can use the ink pads that you get within the Enchanted Ocean, but I'm going to be using these one, mixing and matching, because I do have a Colour Bloom show on Sunday the 31st on Hobby Maker as well. So we're going to use them. And then when it comes to the collection, I'm going to be using the Best Fishes sentiment stamps. I'm going to be using one of the Ocean Vibes, so we're going to be going for that kind of clamshell stencil. We're going to be using the Handsome Seahorse, but I'm only going to be using the die because I want to create a silhouette. I want the focus to be on the backdrop and just a silhouette of the seahorse. We are also going to be, we might use a little bit of glitter paste. Not decided just yet, but we might use the glitter paste. Now, when it comes to changing the colour within the Colour Bloom, I'm not going to use water. I'm going to use the shimmer spray. So we're going to get the shimmer from the shimmer spray, but the water content within the shimmer spray will change the colour from the Colour Bloom. So we're going to be using that. We're going to use a little bit of our water-based colour, so our Tricolour Aqua Pens. We're going to use them. We're of course going to be using the linen cardstock. And what we might also use as well is the Gilding Flake. However, I'm not going to use that set. I'm going to go back to my original Gilding Flake. The only reason I'm doing that, selfishly, at the moment, I don't want to open that until I've used, as he throws it away, all of my other Gilding Flake kits. So whether it is our main Gilding Flake with the original tool set, which I mean by that one, or whether it's some of the other Gilding Flake kits that I've got from the other collection, I keep opening them, using bits, opening a new one, using bits, opening a used one. So I'm going to be good, and at the moment I'm not going to use this. It's still gold, and that's why I'm using our original gold, and then the glue's exactly the same. It's just in the toolkit container. So I am potentially going to be using that, but not that actual one. So if you're going to do what I'm doing, either do what I'm doing if you want to use all yours up, or of course it's the exact same gold, but what we're just going to do is we're just going to keep that a little bit longer so that we can use up what I've got already open, and then of course I can come back and use that at a later date. So that is the plan. Well, initial plan. I've got an idea of what I'm making, but as we go along, as always, we may mix and match and change little bits. Rightio. So what we're going to do to start with is let's take our card blank. Now, as I say, it's 7x7. And although you get 7x7 card blanks, I always like mine to be a top fold. So what we mean by that is instead of your card opening that way, the traditional way, I always like it to open as a top fold, or a tent fold, some people call it. So we're going to go in and I'm going to cut that 5-inch, and then that should be 7-inch, which it is. I just need to trim it slightly. And then I've got my 5x7 card, but it's a top fold. Now all my card blanks that I use are from Sticks 2. You can, of course, create your own if you want to. Certainly for you guys stateside that are a little bit limited when it comes to your card blanks. I'm going to keep that because then that could be used as a sentiment strip later on. So I've got my card blank there. Let's take my watercolour card here. And when it comes to my watercolour card, let me just move my gilding flakes and all that out the way. Move my iPad so I've got a little bit of room. And I'm going to take my watercolour card and I'm going to cut that to 4 1/4 by 6 1/4, like so. So we've got our watercolour card 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. What I'm going to do, just while I'm here, I'm going to give it a very, very thin, oh no, that's 4, I need to go over 4 1/4, a very, very thin black matte layer. So just a few mils over 4 1/4 and a few mils over 6 1/4. I'm going to pop that in and that looks just perfect and spot on for me. Just a very, very thin black matte layer, and that's what I like and that's what I want. So we've got that one. Before we go any further, let's do our insert, as I always like to do. And the deepest or the darkest matte layer that's going to be on my card is going to be black. So you know how I've talked you through in the past how if you are doing a matte layer for your inside, which what I'm away to see here is completely optional. You don't have to do what I'm doing. This is just my recommendation. That is whatever matte layer, whatever the deepest colour matte layer is on the front of your card, use that colour as the matte layer inside. Now, in my original plan as it stands at the moment, my mattes and layers on the front, there's going to be black, potentially going to use a little bit of lilac and a little bit of purple. So lilac, purple, black. Out of those 3 layers, the darkest tone is black. So that's going to be my matte layer inside. It's just my personal preference. I think it looks good. It ties it all in. But if you want to use any of the other colours you use on the front, then of course, by all means, you can absolutely do that. I like to use the darkest tone on the top through to that insert. So my card blank is 5 by 7. So let's take my white smooth cardstock and I'm going to go 4 1/2 by 6 1/2, and then we're going to keep it 1/4 inch bigger. So let's do 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. So there's my perfect matte layer, and then that can go on the inside of my card blank. Now, of course, at this point, you could stamp, you can print your sentiment, you could then matte and layer, you can do what you want. As I always say, as and when I am making these, I don't know who I'm going to be giving them to at the time. So I do the mattes and layers at the start, do that insert matte and layer at the start, and then when I know who I'm going to be giving it to, I'll maybe come along, print out an insert, matte and layer that inside, or of course, stamp and insert, depending on who I'm giving it to and what the occasion is. So that is my insert done. And we can matte and layer that just shortly and pop it in. So actually, tell you what, let's do it now. So let's just use our bone folder and I'm going to go in with my tape. Let's take my matte and layer here, Craig, not your card blank. I'm going to use my double-sided tape, as I always do. And I've got a funny feeling I'm going to run out of my tape within this video. I do have loads, but they're in their box in my spare room. So let's take, there's my pokey tool. So let's bring this in. So let's do our mattes and layers. What it also does as well is it stabilizes your card, because you've got that extra layer inside. So let's take these off. Now, of course, you could use your tape runner, or of course, you can then use your tacky glue if you want. So let's pop that into there, press that in, and now there's my insert. So there is my layer. So that's going to be my initial layer, but what I want to do, of course, is I want to then do an additional layer all the way around. So therefore, let's take So I need another bit of black. I take my black cardstock. Now I'm just using our black, I'm using our black smooth card. Let's go into our linen cardstock here. And then this is where, let's take, love that mint tone. Let's go for that lilac. Now I might use, I might use a bit of blue, because the colour blooms that I'm using are going to have blue. And the reason, in case I'm kind of skipping ahead here, the reason I'm using, and I know that I'm going to use lilac and blue, is when it comes to the colour bloom, the shawl that I'm using is lilac and blue. So that's where my lilac and blue initial idea comes from. Same with the dusk orchid. So, actually, yeah, now, do I want to use them both? Right, I've got them both in. I'm definitely going to use shawl, because I've got the shawl is your blue tones, and your dusk, see, I'm starting to think ahead and change my mind already, and the dusk orchid. So these are giving you both your blue tones and your lilac tones, hence why I've gone blue and lilac, but I might already be changing my mind. So let's just go with the flow and see where we go. So let's stick with our lilac just now, and our card blank is 5x7. So let's do 5 3/4 by, not 5 3/4, 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. And then once again, I'm going to give myself a very, very thin black matte layer. So just over 4 3/4 by just over 6 3/4, which gives me the tiniest of black matte layer, which I want. So that's also then going to leave me, now usually I like 1/4 inch white frame all the way round, but I am purposely keeping it really quite tight on this one. Now if I bring this layer in here, which works, but what I actually want is I just want a little bit of blue on that outer edge. Now for some it may seem like a bit of a waste. We are going to gut the cardstock, so this is always optional, but if you know me, you know I do my mats and layers, and that will never change. So that lilac layer was 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. So I'm going to come a few mils. I'm going to come a few mils after 4 1/2. Just a couple of mils after 4 1/2, and a couple of mils after 6 1/2. Mils just meaning millimeters, not mils as in fluid mils. Ovs, hashtag ovs. So let's bring that in there. Oh no, I need to trim that a little bit more. So let's take that 4 1/4, no, 4 1/2 by 6 1/2. So 4 1/2 by 6 1/2. That gives me my little lilac matte layer. I can just see here, let me zoom in that a little bit more. And then let's see what we're going to be like here. Might need to trim this a little bit. Oh no, I'm going to be absolutely fine. I'm going to be absolutely fine. So we're staging it up. We're building it up. Granted, yes, I know for many that's too many mats and layers, so you can eliminate one. You can knock them out if you want to. That's up to you. But we're not wasting. So what we're going to do is we're going to gut. Now, knowing what ones to gut, because we don't want to gut them all, because if you gut them all, then you're going to take some of the rigidity. You're going to take some of that strength and structure. So what I do, and this is where we'll go back to the overhead in a second. Look at your layers. What's more precious to you? What cardstock is more precious to you at home? Now, what I mean by that, I have got an absolute abundance of black cardstock, and that to me is, it's not rare. The black card's not rare. I can easily get more, really easily. To me, my linen cardstock is a precious cardstock. So I'm not going to gut my black layers, because I'm not really bothered about waste as such with the black layers, because I've got plenty. I don't want to waste my linen cardstock. So by gutting my linen cardstock, we're going to save on card. We're also going to save on a little bit of weight, but we're not going to lose out in strength or structure because I've still got the full layer from my black. So that's how I determine, if I've got a few layers, that's how I determine what do I gut. What is the most precious cardstock to me? And in this occasion, it's the linen cardstock. So therefore, I'll gut the linen cardstock and I will keep the black cardstock as a whole. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to come about 3/4 of an inch in. Twist, turn, twist, turn. And we're going to cut. So I've got that. I could have made that even thinner, but as it is, I'm fine with that. So I'm coming up to 3/4 of an inch, and then I'm going to cut all the way around. And notice as well, with my V blade, I'm cutting up, I'm cutting down, I'm cutting up, I'm cutting down. If you always cut in the one direction, now what I mean by that is some people, and this isn't right or wrong, some people will cut down, turn their card, move it up, cut down. Turn their card, move it up, cut down. Now you can do that, but over time what you're going to do is you're going to blunt one side of the V blade a lot quicker than the other side. If you do that, what you do need to remember, down the line, as it starts to blunt, you're going to have to just take it out, twist it around, pop it back in, and then continue cutting from top to bottom, or bottom to top, whichever way you do it. Whereas if you do what I've just done there, cut down, turn, cut up, turn, cut down, you're using both points of that V-blade trimmer, so it's going to enable you to last that little bit longer. So if you do it in the one direction, there's nothing wrong with that. You just need to remember that down the line, turn your blade, and then you're going to be cutting on that other V-blade side. So we've got that, we've got all of that, still got the structure from our black cardstock. We're not going to see any of that missing, and then we've got our layers. Good to go. So let's take our, I'm not going to mat and layer just yet. I'm going to add my tape on here all the way round and press holding these in. I will mat and layer these later on, because if you got your cardstock and you mat and layer like I do with your tape, this has now come a lot more flimsy than if it was a full sheet. So sometimes that could be a little bit temperamental to mat and layer. So if you do ever find that, then do all the layers first with the tape and then adhere at the end. So there's that, that and that. Let's put that to the side. I'm going to bring that in. Now, I'm not going to add my tape just yet, because that one I'm going to add foam pads later on. This one, we're going to do some water-based technique, so I don't really want to add my tape at the moment. If the water starts to saturate through it, I don't want to affect my tape, so therefore we'll do that at the end. So, watercolour card. Let's bring in, and actually while we're just doing this, let's just put these bits back in. So try and always do is always tidy as I go. And I'm always getting asked, what do you do with your spare? I always keep, you don't already know, I keep original packaging. I keep everything in their original packaging. Stamps, dies. I don't have our storage binders. There is nothing wrong with them. They're an incredible storage solution if that's what you prefer. Me personally, I prefer original packaging. Keep it all in. You've got the packaging, you've got the title of the collection, the title of the stamp or the die, the cardstock. It's all there in the original packaging, and that's how I like to store mine. So that's all in there now. Let's take our stencil. So if we come in with our stencil, and you've got your 5 stencils and they're all in the one pack. Now I'm going to go for the clamshell, which would be stuck inside. Yep, we're going to go in with the clamshell. Let's pop these back in, and let's use these. So let's go with my original plan. So let's go in with the shoal here. The reason, I know why I've got myself confused. My original plan was to go over the back with the shoal and then go into the glass mat, water brush, pick it up and then flick. I'm going to change that, and instead of doing it with the Dusk Orchid, I'm going to do it with our Tricolour Aqua pens. That's where I've got myself confused as to what I was going to do. I'm going to use one of our blending brushes here. I'm not going to secure it with any tape or anything like that. You know, I like that free-flowing motion. I like it to be rustic, so if that moves, it doesn't really matter, because of course we're going to spritz it. But we're not spritzing with water. We're going to spritz with our shimmer spray. Now that's going to give us a really, really lovely shimmer afterwards. But the water content within the shimmer spray is going to change the colour of our shoal Colour Bloom. Now don't forget, I've got this weekend coming, so that will be, if you're watching this in real time, that's going to be Saturday and Sunday the 30th and the 31st of March. I'm going to be on Hobby Maker. On Sunday the 31st, this is where I'm going to be having the Hobby Maker launch of the Enchanted Ocean. The second show that day, I've got Full Hour within the Colour Blooms. You loved these with Debbie Robinson last week, so we're going to have another hour look, and as I'm doing right now, I'm mixing and matching. So I've got my shimmer spray. I like to, I'm not a big fan of shaking it like that. I know you've got that ball bearing in there, and although I'm doing what I don't really like doing, this is what a lot of people do, nothing wrong with it, but you can sometimes get air bubbles. So that's why what I prefer to do is I prefer to roll back and forwards. It still gets the ball bearing going, but what it does is it circulates. Instead of shaking and building up the bubbles, what it's just doing is it's just like in a barrel motion. The ball's going round and round and round, agitating all of the shimmer, ready for you to then start to use. So let's go in with the shoal here, holding down, and I don't necessarily want it to be overly neat or precise, so we're just going to go straight in, and I'm just going to hold it with my fingers. I'm not bothered, I'm not concerned about any strong rough layers, any strong bits of colour. All that I'm wanting is to get some of that shoal blue laid down. And what I'm also not doing is I'm not going right to the edges. We're just going to keep it nice and rustic all the way round. We're going to go strong in some areas, and if that means we're going to have some stronger, harsh brush points, then that's what I'm wanting. So let's go in there as well. Add some strong parts. If you want to then, of course, keep it completely smooth, what I would do is dab it on your brush, take some of the excess off your glass mat, and then circular motions on. But that, quite simply, that's it. That's all that I'm doing. I've got a water spritz here, so it could be our Spectrum Noir one, or, as I say, I've just taken an old, I know I've showed you and told you in the past, it's just an old cleaning solution bottle, and what I've done is just filled it with water, given it a good clean out, filled it with water, and that's my big water spritz. So that's it. Now my brush completely dry, completely clean, ready to go on. Now what I'm also going to do at this point, let's pop that back on. So let's get that as close to as possible. And then let's take our shimmer spray. So I'm going to spray over the top. And I want to give, you know, a good spritz. Same with if I was doing that with water. What I want to do is I want to give that a really, really good spritz. I'm going to let that set, then I'm going to lift, and then it's going to start to travel underneath. Now what I mean by that is let's lift that up, and then as it starts to dry, it's going to start to travel in between all of the clamshells, and that's what we want. We're wanting that sort of feel. Now if you want it to be a little bit more of a fireworks spritz, let's then just spritz more. And I'm going to leave that to kind of naturally dry for a moment before we come along and heat set it. And we're going to heat set it before we come on at the next part with the tricolour aqua pens. So let's give that really good clean off here. Let's then take all of that off like so. And what will happen as well is as this is drying, it's naturally bending and buckling over. I like that because then what the ink's doing is it's starting to travel down the top and the bottom. It's slow and it's subtle, but it's starting to travel. If you don't want that to happen, just hold in the centre or put something or a little bit of dotty tape within the middle of your glass mat, press down, keep it flat, and that's going to then dry it smoothly. But let's start to heat set it. And although it is the shimmer spray, as I say, the water content within the shimmer spray, the liquid, will also help change more to a lighter blue. So let's hold over the top. But it's also, it's kind of like a triple whammy because it's also giving you the shimmer, it's giving you the colour bloom change, but it's also giving you kind of like a water-based faux bleach effect as well. So we're going to keep going over. Now it doesn't need to be completely dry, just dry enough for the next stage not to overly seep inside. And I think I am going to stick with my original plan, dust orchid, and we'll use some of our tricolour aqua pens. So that should be more than enough. So we've changed our inky background, we've got some of the deeper shades in there. And that should be fine for now. So let's take the dusk orchid, add that to our glass mat. Let's then take, I've got some water, but I think this, I'm not going to lie, I think this water's kind of mank it, but it should do. So let's just water brush. And then, actually, I'm going to, that's watered down just a little bit too much for my liking, so let's clean that up. I'm going to be very, very careful because Craig has got his brand new WrestleMania 40 top on. And although it's water base, I don't want to get it on my jumper just yet. So let's go along. Now, I'm not worried too much about the middle because we're going to have the seahorse there, and I'm just working my way round the edges here. Working our way round so we can get that splattered effect, like so. And let's clean that up, and then let's do exactly the same, but let's go in with, this is when become really, really pernickety. So my set that I've got here was used for photography, and when they use them for photography, they tend to open the packets in any old way. So this one's been ripped and torn from the bottom just here, as you can see. And you know what I'm like, I'm really pernickety and quite anal when it comes to stuff like that. And it bugs me. So let me take, because photography are only doing their job, and they do an incredible job when it comes to the pictures of the websites. But it's the way that some get opened. So let's go in with a deep blue. Let's go in with the marine here. So this is the Ocean Breeze. Yeah, go in with the deep blue. And we're going to do the same. So let's add that to our glass mat. A little bit of water. And let's just flick around the edges just into here. A little bit more. And then what I want to do is I kind of want to disperse that a little bit more. Clean all this up here. And then I'm going to bring in my water spritz. Now, this is what I mean by, that's our Spectrum Noir one. It's doing the same job, it's just an old cleaning bottle. So instead of me having to fill that over and over again, I've just got my big. And then spritzing that. So that's then now going to pull the colour that we've just spritzed, and then we're going to get into all the nooks and crannies here. We're going into all these nooks and crannies. It's going to change some of the colour because we've got the colour burst of the shoal within the clamshell, but then we've also got the dusk orchid from that splatter effect that we've done. So we're going to heat set that, like so. We're going to work our way around. We're still able to see that clamshell effect, but we've got more of a light darkened shade effect. So let's see, so any little pools, what I'm going to do is I'm going to blow them with my heat tool. I'm going to keep on going. Like so. Let's take my cloth, like so. I'm going to take a little bit of kitchen towel of that and damp any of that excess off. But what we don't lose is any of that shimmer. We're still going to get that shimmer bounce. I don't know if we can just cut. There we go. We've still got that incredible shimmer bursting through. So I'm going to heat set that little bit more. So let's work our way around. Heat setting that. And the reason I want it to be really quite dry is because we are going to use a little bit. We're going to go to town with this layer. This is the main focal point of the card, is the background. The mats and layers, the seahorse, it's the little detail, but it's all about this backdrop here. So I want to be fully dry so that we can add some of the glitter paste. And then there we go. We've got our backdrop. We're going to go in with our glitter paste. And this one, oh, it's a chunky one. I thought it was a smooth one, but we've got the chunky. Now, I'm going to change my mind because this would work. I just want to keep it blue and lilac tones. So I'm not going to use that. But what I'm going to do, if I looked at the... Oh, no, it doesn't. Usually it shows you a circled colour on the back. I was about to say, if I'd looked at the colour on the back, I would have seen that it's a different tone. So I'm not going to use that. I do still want to use a little bit... I will use the... I know what I'll do instead. I was thinking, actually... Where's all? Let me get my other glitter glues. Let's take I've got all my glitter glues piled up at the side, just here. And now I've just gone and knocked them down the side of my desk. I'm not waiting to go and pick them up now, actually. Apologies, but I am. There we go, that's it. Right, I know you've just kind of got a side angle of my backside, but I'm looking for my glitter paste. I want my clear one. I want my Moonlight Frost. That's the one that I'm wanting here. There we go. Let's take my... Oh, I've left my spatula. Oh, no, I've not. I thought I'd left my spatulas down at Hobby Maker, which I have, but I've got a spare one here. Right, let's go in with... Let's go in with the wave. Yeah. Let's go in with the wave. And I'm only going to add a little bit, top and bottom here. That's it. Nothing overly precise. I'm going to do a seahorse within the middle just here. So let's take our Moonlight Frost. I'm hoping this is still usable because I've not used this one for a while. No, it's not. That's what I get for not putting cling film or blue or tin foil over the top. No, that's going to be too gummy. Right, let's do a bit of Starlight Blue. Let's do Starlight Blue. Actually, no, I don't. See, this is, I'm so undecisive today. I really want a clear one. I know I've got loads of other clear ones. Let's go to our Christmas range, where we've got glitter paste. This one being the Snow Angel. This is still a clear one. Here we go. That's better. Shows the importance of making sure you've got either cling film or you've got tin foil wrapped over the top to stop it drying out. So I only want just a little bit into there and into there. After all of that, and that's all that I wanted. That's all that I wanted. You can just capture it top and bottom there. It's going to add extra touchy-feely, extra depth. Let's make sure we're fully pressed. I would be inclined to put a little bit more tin foil or cling film or tin foil over the top. Let's make sure we clean all that off. Let's make sure that we clean all that off straight away as well. As we all know, our glitter paste is incredible, but if you don't clean it ASAP, it becomes rock solid and it's nigh all impossible to get off. So there we go, we've got a good clean stencil now. Let's move that as my glitter paste tumble again. Right, let's heat set that. Wherever possible, I would always let it dry naturally, but I don't have one dry because I hadn't actually, before we go any further, what have I done with it? Here we go. So I don't actually need my glue for this because that is still sticky. So what I'm going to do here is lightly press. Now, I'm not pressing my whole finger in there because what will happen is I'll just smudge the glitter glue, or the glitter paste, sorry. So I'm just going to lightly press, and then once it's dry, I can rub off any of the excess. So taking flakes, just dabbing in for it to grab. I'm just wanting, I really don't want little big chunks. Although it's a big chunk there, it's only held on to a little bit of the glue, so the rest will come off. There we go. That should be fine. Let's move that out of the way for now. Let's heat set that. So we're going to heat set that until that's pretty much fully dry. Now, Gildan Flakes, I really would let the glue dry naturally, the glitter paste dry naturally. I'm not keen on heat setting over the top of my Gildan Flakes, but as I say, I've not got one already done because the glitter paste and the flakes was kind of a last minute idea just before I started filming. So work our way in like so. All that excess flake we can rub off once it's fully dried. It should be fine for now. It's still not going to be fully dry, so what we're going to do is we're not going to assemble the layers just yet. We're going to crack on with our sentiment and our seahorse. So let's move that out the way for now. Now the seahorse, I don't want the stamp, I just want the silhouette. So let's take the seahorse. Let's take a bit of white card. Is this going to be enough? And where's my black card? Get a black card. What I also done is I treated myself. I hummed and had for weeks and weeks and weeks, and it got delivered the other day. In the UK on Hobby Maker, we've got our exclusive colour, only available at Hobby Maker, and that is our Mojito MIDI. Now it is exclusive to Hobby Maker in the UK. I'm still using one of my old folders, and notice my hinges start to come away. Doesn't matter, you can still use it. Even if it comes away completely, you can still use it. So we're just going to sandwich that through and run it through. So yeah, whenever I had this on a show, I hummed and had, do I get it? Don't I get it? I really wanted it, but do I really need it? No, I don't. And of course, because it's exclusive to Hobby Maker in the UK, even we don't have it at head office. And then I thought, oh, sod it, let's go for it. So just before I had my few days off in Scotland, I ordered it, and it just arrived just there. So let's run that one through. So I'm doing my seahorse on black and also white card. If you're in the UK and you're like, oh, I fancy that Mojito MIDI, then they still have it. And in actual fact, I believe, I need to double check my schedule, but I'm sure one of my shows at the week, not this weekend, the following week, I'm sure I have got a Mojito show, Mojito MIDI show. Now I'm going to go black over the top, so I'm going to use my tacky glue. So let's get that going. So let's, there we go. Get that going. Of course, this is Sticks 2's tacky glue. You might have our Collal glue or any other branded glue. Certainly with our Collal glue and Sticks 2's tacky glue, you don't need a lot at all. And then let's offset that. And let's press that in. So we've got a light white drop shadow of our seahorse. And let's go in with our foam pads. So we're going to add our foam pads onto the back here. So let's add these in like so. Make sure we've got a good stable. I'm going to add I'm going to chop that on and add to here. What I'll also do, as well as this collection, the Sticks to items that I've used, I will link in the description within this video. So we've got the seahorse, which will just sit nicely over the top. And then let's go in with our sentiment. So I've got a little bit off colour card. Is that going to be the same? So I need to trim it slightly. Now, if you know me, you know I love my banner strips that run across my card. And that's what we're going to do here. So yeah, 4 1/4. And I want a hello. Hello would be a good one. Hello. When you say hello, do you think of Lionel Richie or do you think of Adele? I think of Lionel Richie. Actually, I'm not going to use hello. Let's use you, me, and the sea, because it's the seahorse. Now that's very, very thin. So I'll probably only need about 3/4 of an inch. So there's that one. And in actual fact, I don't even need it. So that's 4 1/4 by 3/4 of an inch. But what I'm going to do is, can you just see, this is about using the guillotine further than just the measurements that are there. So I want it a bit thinner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the edge of my card against the edge of the silver strip. Like so. And that should be fine, yeah. Let's take another bit of black. So let's cut that to 1 inch. I've got a funny feeling this is still going to be way too thick, so we can trim it afterwards. So let's turn it around to the 4 1/4 that I need. Yeah, oh gosh, yeah, way too thick. So this time, what I'm going to do is where the notches end. So you've got your 1 inch grid, and then the notches just end just before that metal strip. So I'm going to use that. Yeah, perfect. There we go. So it's using the guillotine in other ways. So let's bring in my large stamping platform here. And let's get that central. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, no, need to come in just a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5. Perfect. So that's me central. Let's bring in you, me, and the sea. I'm going to stick my head in the way just for a moment. You really don't want to see my forehead or the back of my head. You'll just see the bald spots starting to come in the grey hairs, which is more and more grey hairs coming within the beard. There we go, that should be fine. And let's ink that up. Now I'm going to use my Noir Black Waterproof. Now the only reason I'm using the Noir Black Waterproof, as I said time and time again, for some reason, I don't know why, but it seems to give a real crisp, clean impression. So although I'm not doing anything water-based with this, it's still a really cracking ink pad to use for a strong black sentiment. Now I could use my Colour Bloom. I could use the ink pads that you get within your Enchanted Ocean, but because I've done black mats and layers, I'm just going for my black sentiment. So we've got that, and let's just pop that back here. I need to remember to be good with the packing away because I've taken these out my bags for hobby maker, so I need to remember and put them all back. let's bring in our tape. I'm going to add my tape into here. Of course, you can use whatever adhesive you so wish. And then my strip is the same length. Now the width is a little bit thicker, but as always the length is exactly the same, because I don't, very rarely with a sentiment do I like my mats and layers all the way round. I like it to end left and right exactly the same, with a little bit of a layer at the top and the bottom. Got a slight little overhang there, so let's just trim that ever so slightly and trim that one like that. Now this is going to have, on purpose, height to it. The layer that we've done with the stenciling, that's going to go into black card, which we're going to lift on foam pads. We're going to then bring in the seahorse, which is of course lifted on foam pads, and then we're going to go for a triple whammy where that sentiment strip is going to be lifted on foam pads. So yes, there's a lot of height, but you could easily eliminate that. Just maybe one layer with foam pads, none with foam pads if you want it completely flat. So this is where it's not necessarily trial and error, it's personal preference. Do you want the height? Are you posting it? Which is then going to increase the cost potentially for you guys stateside, so then reduce it. So although I'm doing it, don't think, oh well, I can't make that card because Craig's added all that height, it's going to cost me money to post. You just eliminate that step, so you don't need to worry about that. So for that, because I know that that's going to go right across my seahorse, I'm going to bring in my foam pad once again. I'm just going to chop that, and then that's going to go within the middle, because I know that's going to sit like that. Move that one out the way. Now, that's pretty much dry. Now I'm still going to be careful. Where's my little sponge on this? Where's my black sponge gone? Right, let's take my toolkit here. Let's take my little sponge. Now when it comes to all of your gilding flakes, all your little kits and that, now remember, well, I'll finish what I was about to say there. Chop them in half, because you don't need a full one for your flake. So you can see that I've chopped it in half. And if you, the reason, like I said at the start, the only reason I've not used this one is I've got all these gilding flake kits already open. So instead of opening a brand new one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and use up all my other gilding flake kits that I've used before I come along and use that one. So if you don't have any gilding flakes, do what I'm doing, but with the actual set that you get. But the reason I'm using my Spectrum Noir gilding flakes is just so I don't need to open up another tub. Then what we're going to do is we're just going to take that excess off. So we've got little sparkle shimmer, or not sparkle shimmer, but little gold flakes. That excess is coming off there, but then we're just left with that little nod of gold flakes there. And that's what I want, and I don't want it to be overly powerful. If you wanted a lot more, really kind of compress down for it to grab, but it's just a nod, and that's all that it is. It's just a nod to the flakes. I didn't want it to be overly powerful. And then let's start to layer. So now the card's completely dry. This is where I'm going to add my double-sided tape. Let's bring that all the way round. Put my tape into here. Look at that, perfect timing. Right to the, I could not do that again if I tried. Because I don't need any more tape. So that really was perfect. So let's bring my layer in and just see how that black really does set it off. Now can you imagine, this could be one of the mermaids with your illusion film if you wanted it to be, or this could be one of the, or a few of the stamp shells. You could really start to build up. But look, it's like something out of pattern paper, a pattern paper pad, but you've created it yourself. You've done it all yourself from scratch. We're now going to go in with, now what I do actually want to do with this one is I don't want this layer to be overly high. So I'm going to go back to my foam on a roll. So it still sticks to, but it's only 1 mil. So it's a thin foam pad, because the other ones, the seahorse and the sentiment, in actual fact, I think what I'm going to do with the sentiment, I'm going to take those foam pads off because they're quite deep as well. So I think I'm going to take the foam pads off the back of the sentiment and use this 1 mil foam pad as well. So let's pop that into there. So let's take that off. Actually, that's nice and crisp and clean, so I'll still be able to use them later on. I'm just going to replace the foam that I've just taken off there, but with this 1 mil. So it's going to be 1 mil, that is 4 mil, then 1 mil. So we're going to get that. Look at that. Oh, love it. You could always, if you wanted to, let's do it. Right, what I'm going to do is just towards the top and the bottom of the seahorse, top and the bottom there, and then I'm just going to add a bit of that shimmer spray. Let's clean that off. Let's bring in our heat tool, and then we're going to dry that off. So let's dry all of that. So we're going to have that shimmer to the seahorse bursting through the black cardstock. So let's keep going. Heat setting that. And then we're going to get the beautiful tones. So because it's on black cardstock, it kind of gives you a lilac tone, which actually works really well because it pulls out the lilac tone from your colour bloom, and also the colour change from the colour bloom. Ideally, I would have done this before I popped the foam pads on. Not that it'll affect it, but just to keep it flat. But hey ho, we've done now. So we're going to have that shimmer to the seahorse. And then let's bring in all of our layers here. So let's take these ones. Now, whereas I was saying earlier on, this makes it quite flimsy. So if you're not comfortable going straight over the top when it's flimsy, what to do, and you're using double-sided tape, turn the edges over. Now, if you're using your all-purpose glue or your tacky glue, you've got that wiggle room. But if you are someone that likes to use your tape, then line up, because you've still got wiggle room now. Line it up. When you're happy, press down in the corners where it's going to grab. That's it now in place, and then just pull out, press, pull out, press, pull out, press, and pull out, press. That makes it easier with your dry adhesive. Makes it a little bit more sturdy now because you've got 2 layers. So for that one, I'm just going to take, you can do exactly the same as to what I've done there, but I am just going to take the full backing off. Let's bring in our black card that we've cut down, and we're going to add that into there. Let's take that off here, here, and here. That we can pop into there. And then let's take our background layer. Do you know what I think I'm going to do as well? I did dig out my glossy highlights after the last video. But to save waiting on it drying, I think I'm going to go back in dewdrops. If you've got any spare dewdrops or you've got your glossy highlights, this is going to be fab for this collection. So we'll get them in a minute. Let's bring that into there. Press that in. And just by adding those extra mats and layers, completely optional, but by adding in those additional mats and layers, makes a difference. And then with the seahorse, like, oh, even just that on its own. So let's take these off. Taking the backing off. Now these are still, of course, sticks too, so they're still easy to come off. If you do add foam pads to the back of a layer, then you come along and heat set it like I've done with the heat tool. Sometimes it can affect the releasing of your foam pads. I'm going to be totally honest, that's really only going to affect your more inexpensive, cheap brands. You're not really going to have to worry about ours or sticks too. But if you find that, that is why. And because we've got an uneven surface and we've done a lot of water base, what I want to do to ensure that my layer stays in place and won't drop off just because it's an uneven surface, I'm just putting little dots of tacky glue on the back of my foam pads. That one is going to go into the middle like so. So let's just press that down. The foam pads are going to give it that instant grab. But then what's going to happen is your tacky glue is going to dry into the back of the foam pads and that base layer of your inky backdrop and make it incredibly strong and sturdy. We're then going to come along, just a tiny little overhang of foam pad. So let's take that one off. And take that off. This is what I mean by I love my banner strips. I like it to be the same length as well as my top layer, hence why it's 4 1/4. You can come down, further up. You could come down here if you wanted it to. I want to see a little bit of its fin, so I'm going to come just into there. And let's press that in. So we've got our sentiment, and then it's calling out for dewdrops. And so let's do large, medium, small. So let's do large, medium, and then small. And then let's do the same down here, large. Let's do small and medium. So let's do large, let's do medium, and let's do small. I'm not going to lie, I'm so proud of this card. I absolutely blinking love it. And if you're in any mind, that is also mixed media. You've just done mixed media on a card. Imagine that being on a canvas. Imagine that being on a 4x. So what all these layers, eliminate the lilac and the purple and the black layer. This inky background with a black matte layer onto a 5x7 canvas. Can you imagine that? Oh, have I got any canvas? No, I don't. Oh, that would have been good as well. Anyway, insert. Not about the insert though. You can, of course, do a little bit of stenciling inking in the corners, pull in the insert. I don't tend to. I leave them blank. But there we go. You, me, and the sea. Now, that's just a few elements from our Enchanted Ocean and also our Colour Bloom. I'm not going to go through the whole list of everything that I use. You can always skip back to this video here and I'll link the main items within the description. But your 5x7 top fold card, Enchanted Ocean, and also used our Colour Bloom Duet ink pad. We used the Shoal and the Dusky Orchid as well. And let's bring that in. So we've got our stenciling, we've got our Colour Bloom, we've got our tricolour aqua pens, we've gone in with some of our glitter pastes, and we've also gone in with the gold flakes, and we've also gone in and added just a few dewdrops into the corner, and we spritz the shimmer spray onto the seahorse there, which pulls in the colour that you've used. There we go. Let's just go once more from above, just so you can see once again how it is. You, me, and the sea. You could always take your little alphabet dies underneath and put horse if you wanted to, or horse underneath. You, me, and the sea. You can make that a little bit thicker and put horse underneath. Have a little bit of play, tongue in cheek. But there we go. And then there we are. I really want to put that in a frame. Do you know that? Really, really chuffed with that. Really chuffed with that. Love it. Might have to redo that in a smaller section on Crafters TV. I might do that. Anyway, I could just look at it. Anyway, rightio. Thank you so much for watching this. As always, if you've not already subscribed, do subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up if you like this one. I really would appreciate it. And also, if you've not already hit the bell notification, please do so. And you're more than welcome. And I would absolutely love it if you could even share this tutorial here. You can either share my Crafters Companion YouTube channel by going at the top of my page and then just hitting the icon of sharing. You've got different options, you know, Instagram or X or TikTok or anything like that, or you can just copy the link and then of course you can pop it wherever you want. I really would appreciate it if you could do that. If not, don't worry, it's just lovely to know that you've been watching. And although, and I always say this, although I don't always reply to all the comments because I can get so many, I get an email notification every single time a comment is left, so I read every single one. So I really, really do appreciate that. Sometimes it's can be a little bit time consuming when it comes to Facebook and then Instagram and then of course YouTube, just when it comes to of course the comments that I made. But please trust me, I do read them all and I appreciate every single one of them. Hopefully you've liked that one. I am, as I say, going to be on Hobby Maker this coming weekend, which is going to be Saturday, Sunday, the 30th and the 31st of March. Not only is it Easter weekend, but here in the UK our clocks go forward, which means we are going to get lighter nights and we're going to be back in line now with you guys stateside. So we're going to be back into that 5-hour difference Eastern time, 8-hour difference Pacific time. So yes, it makes it a lot easier for me to work out. But here in the UK, I'm going to be on Hobby Maker Saturday, 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock. For you guys stateside that love to watch as well, I will add the times within the description on my Instagram and Facebook page. I'm also going to be on for 3 shows on Sunday the 31st. First show is going to be 2 o'clock, and that's going to be, of course, the Hobby Maker launch of the Enchanted Ocean. Got another 2 shows, can't remember off the top of my head whenever they are, but I will add the UK and US times as well. Just to say, on Saturday at 3 o'clock, it's the Hobby Maker launch of the 12x12 mirror pad. So if you already got them from Crafters TV, then come along and see what I'm going to be doing with them. Then 6 o'clock Saturday is going to be another look at the Arabian Nights. Right, thank you so much. Have a lovely Easter weekend. If you are watching this tutorial before Easter weekend, have a lovely Easter weekend, long weekend. I will see you on Hobby Maker this weekend, and then I will see you, if you are watching this in real time, back on Crafters TV on Tuesday the 2nd. Yes, Tuesday the 2nd of April. Going to be on all week with the run up to WrestleMania. Have a lovely weekend, guys, and we'll see you again. Bye.